We do have three examples here, examples A, B, and C. So identify natin if this three examples involving radicals, three examples of equations involving radicals are considered as radical equation. A glorious day to all of you, my dear students. Sino ba naman ang hindi magiging glorious ang day kapag alam mo na matututo ko na naman ng another lesson in math? Diba? So, what are we going to talk about this afternoon or today? So today we are now on lesson number 16. Still, we are under radicals. So what we're going to discuss today, which is our lesson number 16, is about solving radical equations. So what you're going to encounter in this lesson is that you are here going to solve now an equation which involves radicals. So, but not all equations involving radical sign is considered as radical equations. So, we'll find out that here, kung ano na yung matatawag natin as radical equations. So, mas maganda para mas maintindihan natin, unahin natin i-define kung ano ba yung radical equations so that maintindihan natin ano ba yung mga equations na matatawag natin as radical equations. So, to define radical equation, a radical equation is an equation involving radicals in which the variable appears as a radical. So, yun yung condition na an equation involving radicals in which, again, the variable appears as a radical. So, yung variable daw na dapat na yun ay makikita natin inside the radical sign or it is a part of a radicand na tinatawag natin. So, kapag yung letter, ito natin variable ay nasa loob ng radical sign, then it is an equation, then we call that equation as a radical equation. Of course, dapat may involved na radical sign doon para matawag natin radical equation. So, yun yung definition natin ng radical equation. Again, ulitin natin para mas malinaw sa lahat. A radical equation is an equation involving radicals in which the variable appears as a radical. So, paano yun? We do have examples here. So, we do have three examples here. Examples A, B, and C. So, identify natin if this three examples involving radicals, three examples of equations involving radicals are considered as radical equation. So for number one, the given there is square root of x is equal to 7. So if you're going to, again, look back on the definition of radicals, so we will find out that the example in letter A is, yes, a radical equation. Bakit? Because according to the definition, it is a radical equation whose variable appears as a radicand. So yung variable niya, the square root of x, the variable x is inside the radical side or it appears as a radicand. So in that case, that example in letter A is considered as a radical equation. Let's proceed to letter B. So the given in letter B is the square root of x plus 2 is equal to 3. Is that an example of radical equation or not? So again, going back to the definition of radical equation, you'll find out that letter B is, again, yes, a radical equation. So even though it already includes variable constant term inside the as radical, but still, in that given equation, the variable appears as a radicand. So nasa loob pa rin siya ng radical sign. So if that is the case, even though may kasama siyang constant term na added 2 there, still you can consider that as a radical equation. So how about number 3, letter C rather. Letter C, the given is x minus the square root of 3 is equal to 5. So madali nang ma-identify, just look back on the definition of radical equation. Ang sabi sa definition, it is an equation whose variable appears as a radicand. So looking at the variable in letter C, the variable is outside. So hindi siya nasa loob ng radical sign. So that means even though this equation involves radical sign, but this equation is not considered as a radical equation. So, ayun sinasabi natin kanina na not all equations involving radical sign is a radical equation. So, nakadepende yon on the definition of radical equation. So, on the examples that we presented, so only letter A and B are considered as radical equations, but letter C is not considered as radical equation. So, ganun yung pag-identify natin to a given equation involving radicals if it's radical equation or not radical equation. So in order for us to solve radical equations, again in a systematic manner, so we are here going to apply certain steps. Still just like any other, so steps that we are going to apply today, still will hide it through an acronym. This time yung acronym natin, tatawagin natin as LBM. Medyo mabaho-baho usapan tayo sa ngayon. But ito yung LBM that stands for loose bowel movement. Ito yung karaniwan na naranasan ng mga estudyante. So since medyo matagal yung stay ng mga estudyante in school, so possible na pag meron sila nakain na hindi maganda, na hindi akma doon sa sa tiyan nila, so maaaring makaranas sila ng LBM. So ito na yung sinasabi namin as teachers. So if you think that you are experiencing LBM in class, don't hesitate to ask permission to your teacher. We teachers understands it if you're going to tell the truth. Pwede naman na ibulong mo lang, pwede naman na sabihin mo, there's nothing wrong in telling the truth, di ba? Kasi kaysa abutan ka niyan sa upuan mo. So, ayun yung iisipin mo lang, ano ba yung mas nakakahiya, di ba? Mas nakakahiya ba magpaalam ka that you are having an LBM or mas nakakahiya yung abutin ka sa upuan mo na lumabas na. Di ba? So it's just a matter of decision making on which of the two is yung mas nakakahiya. Parehas nakakahiya, of course. So, syempre, marinig ng mga classmates mo that you are having an LBM. So alam naman nila, pag sinabing nag-LBM ka, alam na yung ibig sabihin nun. So nakakahiya yun, of course, kasi you are in school. And your classmates are also there. And mas nakakahiya naman kapag aabutin ka ng pag-LBM mo doon sa kinauupuan mo. Di ba? So, yun na lang iisipin mo eh. So, huwag mahihiya. Don't hesitate to ask permission. Kahit sino pa yung teacher mo, sabihin mo agad yung totoo. So, we teachers understands that. So, right away, we'll ask you to go out and pwedeng pag medyo malala yung LBM mo, the school nurse will send you home. Ganon. Pero kung kaya naman, so you can do that in school. So pwede mo naman yan ilabas in school. Pero doon sa tamang lalabasan niya, hindi yung inside the classroom. So yun na lang iisipin mo. Isipin mo lagi, which of the two na gagawin mo yung mas nakakahiya. Nakakahiya yan eh, syempre. So, but darating sa point eh na maaari mo siyang ma-encounter. What if ikaw, yung classmate mo nagkaganyan before, natawanan mo, what if sa'yo mangyari yan this time? Diba? So what are you going to do? So ganun na, it's just a matter of decision making. So yun yung LBM. I have another meaning for LBM. LBM stands looking back memories. So yung mga bata kayo, marami kayong mga memories na masasaya. Masasayang memories na hanggang sa ngayon ay chine-cherish ninyo. Yung binabalikan ninyo because those memories are the memories that makes you happy. So, walang masama on looking back those memories. So, sa kung tutuusin, maganda pa nga na binabalikan mo yung mga good memories that you have because that will those memories be will become your inspiration in life na in the future gusto mo magkaroon ng uh, mas maganda or mas masaya pang memories na naranasan mo nung bata ka pa. Well, even bad memories na naranasan mo yun, those are just memories that will make you a strong person. So lahat ng mga nararanasan natin sa buhay, lahat ng mga na-encounter natin sa buhay, those are just there to make us strong. So pinapalakas tayo so that when we grow old, so we know already on how to handle those things na naranasan natin, even if those are problems or kahit ano pang naranasan mo sa buhay mo. So lahat yun, hindi naman binibigay yan sa atin ng Diyos if hindi natin kaya. So there's always there na given to us na kayang-kaya natin. So all you have to do is just focus on it, focus on solving it, then work on it. So kailangan mong hanapan ng paraan. So ganun yung sinasabi. Looking back memories. So it's very good. It's very good feeling na kung babalikan mo yung mga good memories, even bad memories na meron ka in the past. So kasi, katulad sinabi natin kanina, yung mga memories na yun yung memories na naglagay sa atin kung nasaan tayo ngayon. Kasi kung wala yung mga yun, maaring hindi tayo ganito kasaya ngayon or maaring still nandiyan pa rin yung takot sa loob natin. So again, those memories, bad or good, will make us a person, will build us as a person. So yun yung nagpapatatag sa atin para malampasan kung ano mang mga pagsubok ang darating pa sa buhay natin. So yun yung message natin, na steps natin na tinatawag natin LBM. So ano yung ba yung LBM na yan? So let's start with the first one. So L stands for, let's raise both sides of the equation to the power same as the index to remove the radical sign. So the first thing we are going to do in order for us to solve a radical equation is to remove the radical sign. So we can remove the radical sign in that given equation if we are going to raise both sides of the equation to the power same as the index. For example, the index is 2. So you are going to raise both sides of the equation by 2. If the index is 5, you are going to raise both sides of the equation by 5 in order for us to remove the radical sign. Di ba meron tayong tinatawag na sasalo? So kapag parehas yung index dun sa exponent, so the answer is the same as, the answer is the radical itself. So ganun yung gagawin natin in order for us to remove the radical sign in the given equation. Because once you removed it, once you have already removed the radical sign in the given equation, it's just like you are already solving a simple equation, whether if your equation is a linear equation or quadratic equation. So since you know naman na already on how to solve linear and quadratic, so i-apply mo na siya ngayon dito. So, but the first thing you're going to do is to remove the radical sign. B. So B here stands for but. But before you do that, arrange first the terms of the equation if it is not arranged in the form where one term with radical is by itself on one side. So, ganun daw. So, that one term with radical, that is the term na nandoon yung variable inside it as a radicand. So, ihiwalay natin siya on one side of the equation. Then, kapag may involve pang other variable, other radical sign na may involve na variable, so let's move it to the other side. So, on one side of the equation, isang radical term there na may involved na variable as a radical. So that's what we are going to do. Before we apply yung step number 1 na raising both sides of the equation to the power same as the index in order for us to remove the radical sign. So again, let us not forget to arrange it first in the form where one term with radical is by itself on one side. And last, M stands for must solve the equation by combining like terms to find the value of the variable. So ito na yung since we have already removed the radical sign in the given equation, so it's just like now we are solving that given equation, whether your equation is a linear equation or a quadratic equation. So we are now going to solve for it. So of course, if there are similar terms or like terms, we have to combine it. So until we find the value of the variable. So that's what we are going to. Kasi ang focus lang naman natin lagi. When we are solving equation, ang pinaka-main focus is for you to find out for the value of the variable. So that's what we are going to do. That value of the variable that will satisfy the given equation. So that's what we are going to do here. So since we are dealing with equation here, so your main goal is to again find the value of the variable in the given equation. So in order for us to solve radical equations systematically, all we have to do is to apply the steps that we call LBM. Now, syempre, mas maganda, mas maintindihan natin if we're going to apply it through examples. So let's have here answer examples. So let's have example number 1. So in example number 1, the given is the square root of x is equal to 10. So if you're going to analyze the given equation, so wala ka nang poproblemahin. It's because it was already arranged in the right form wherein the one with the radical sign together with the variable inside it is on one side of the equation. And usually, on the other side is just a constant. Usually, but there are times na may kasama yung constant na yun on the other side of the equation. So we do have there square root of x is equal to 10. So since it was already arranged in the right form, so we can proceed right away on raising both sides of that equation to the power same as the index. Ano ba yung index ng given radical natin? So the index is 2. That means we are going to raise both sides of the equation by 2. The purpose of raising both sides of the equation by 2 is for us to remove this radical sign here with the application of the Sasa law that we have discussed. And of course, we are raising it on both sides. We are also raising the other side of the equation because we are in an equation. So whatever you do on one side, so you will also do that on the other side to apply the concept of equality. So if you are going to simplify it, so mariremove mo na to with the application of the Sasa law, matitira na is x. That is what we are looking for, di ba? The value of the variable. So kapag x na nang natira, na wala na yung radical sign, so we are now going to simplify the other side. So the other side, that would be 10 squared. 10 squared is the same as 10 times 10. And what is 10 times 10? That is 100. So that's why the answer to number 1 is x is equal to 100. So that's how we solve example number 1. A given equation, on that given radical equation. So any questions so far? So if none, let's proceed to the other example, another example. So example number 2, the given is cube root of y is equal to 5. Similar to example number 1, ang pinagkaiba lang is that this example involves a different index on the given radicals. So still both terms in that given equation was already arranged in the right form, wherein one with the radical sign and a radicand of a variable, which is a variable, is on one side of the equation while on the other side is just a constant. So since it was already arranged in the right form, So we can now apply raising both sides of the equation by the power, same as the index. So this time the index is 3. So that means we are going to raise both sides of the equation by 3. So again, the purpose is for us to eliminate this cube root sign here so that y will be left. Because y is what we are looking for in the problem. So if we are going to simplify it, so y will be left on the left side by with the application of the Sasa law, while on the right side, that is 5 cubed. 5 cubed means 5 times 5 times 5. And what is 5 times 5 times 5? So 5 times 5, we have 25. 25 times 5, we do have 125. So that's why, for example, number 2, the answer is y is equal to 125. Any question? Next, let's have example number 3. So in example number 3, the given is the square root of 3n plus 3 is equal to 12. Again, ito yung isa sa example natin kanina na katulad sa isa sa example natin kanina pa kung identifying if the given equation is radical equation or not. Even though mayroon pang plus 3 insides, but still the variable is inside the radical side. So it appears as a radical. Still, we can consider that as a radical equation. So, paano to? Paano natin sagutin to? Just like what we did on the first two examples, that's also what we are going to do here. So, purpose natin, since naka-arrange naman na in the right form, is to eliminate right away this radical sign. That is by raising both sides of the equation by the power, same as the index. So, what we are going to do is to raise both sides of the equation by 2 because the index here is 2. So by raising both sides of the equation by 2, this left side of the equation, pag sinimplify natin, ma-eliminate na yung square root side as well as this 2. So matitira na lang is 3n plus 3. Then simplify 12 squared. What is 12 times 12? We come up with 144. So that magiging ganito. 3n plus 3, na-remove na natin yung radical sign, is equal to 144 by simplifying 12 squared or 12 times 12. Then, so we are now here solving linear equation. Paano ba natin sinusolve yun, di ba? We are combining similar terms. 144 and 3 are both constants. So we are going to move 3 to the right side of the equation. Of course, when it jumps to the equal sign, the sign will change. So it is just like we are applying there a subtraction property of equality. So mag-minus 3 tayo on both sides. Ganun din yun. The same way as we are moving 3 to the right side of the equation. So from positive, it will become minus 3. So 144 minus 3 is 141. So magiging ganito. 3n na lang on the left side, then 141 on the right side. Then para n na lang, since n is what we are looking for, and since n is still accompanied by 3, so we still have to remove 3 here. That is by dividing both sides of the equation by 3. So pag dinivide natin yung 3n by 3, matitira na lang is n. So that is what we are looking for in the problem. Then divide 141 by 3. So what is 141 by 3? So sa 14, 3, 6, 9, 12, 4. Na matitirang 2. Then 21 ulit. 21 divided by 3, that would be 7. So therefore, we come up with the answer for number 3 as n is equal to 47. Did you get example number 3? So madali na siya once you remove the radical sign. Kasi it's just like we are now solving linear equation or pwedeng ma-encounter tayo ng quadratic equation. So nakuha example number 3. Okay, do you have any questions about example number 3? So let us answer this time example number 4. So the given example number 4 is the fifth root of 2b plus 10 is equal to 2. So again, your purpose is to remove the radical sign first so that we can easily answer this given equation. So the given root here is the fifth root. So you want to remove that fifth root sign. That is by simply raising both sides of the equation by the power same as the index. So since fifth root yun, ang i-remove natin, so we are going to raise both sides of the equation by 5. So the fifth root of 2b plus 10 quantity raised to 5 is equal to 2 raised to 5. Again, whatever you do on one side of the equation, you will also do that on the other side of the equation to apply the concept of equality. So from there, so simplifying it, so we can now remove this fifth root sign together with this 5. Ang matitira is 2b plus 10. While on the right side, we are going to simplify 2 raised to 5. Ano ba yung 2 raised to 5? That's using 5 times as factors. That's 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16 times 2, 32. So that's why magiging ganito. So magiging 2b plus 10, ayun na yan, yung nasa loob ng radical sign, is equal to 32. Then from there, let's apply again solving linear equations. That is by first combining similar terms. That is by moving 10 to the right side of the equation. So from plus 10 here, when you move it to the right side of the equation, magiging minus 10. So magiging ganito. 2b is equal to 22 kasi magiging 32 minus 10. Then, since we are looking for b and still b here is still accompanied by 2, so we still have to divide both sides of the equation by 2. So when you divide 2b by 2, matitira is b. That is what we are looking for. And 22 divided by 2 is equal to 11. So that's why the answer to number 4 is equal to b, which is equal to 11. So that's how we answer example number 4. Do you have any questions about it? So if not, let's proceed to in answering another example. So let's answer now example number 5. So in example number 5, we do have here both side of the equations involves radicals. But what's okay here is that both given radical terms, both given radicals involves the same indices. So that's why hindi tayo mahihirapan on removing the radical sign. So the given for number 5 is cube root of 3z plus 9 is equal to the cube root of 6z plus 15. So since both of them are cube root, sinabi natin ngayon na dapat sa kabilang one side is the radical term whose variable is inside. But in the case of this, pareha sila. So paghiwalayin mo silang dalawa. So pag naka-encounter ka na ganun, dalawang radical sign on the given equation, so you have to separate the two. Paghiwalayin mo on both sides of the equation. Parang ganito sa example number 5, magkahiwalay na sila. So, ang gagawin mo na ngayon is to remove that radical sign so that mas madali natin masolve yung given equation na yan. So, we can remove the index, the radical sign there whose index is 3. That is by placing both sides of the equation by the power same as the index. So we are going to raise both sides of the equation by 3. So in that way, pag sinimplify natin both sides of the equation, maka-cancel out na yung radical sign niya because we are applying again the sasalo. So magiging ganito ang kalalabasan. So wala na yung radical sign niya, magiging 3z plus 9 na is equal to 6z plus 15. So we are here going to combine similar terms. Pwede move natin yung 3z doon, magiging 6z minus 3z, then move yung 15 sa kabila, magiging negative 15 plus 9. Now with the application of the commutative property of equality, so pwede natin siyang pagbalik na rin. So magiging ganito yung kalalabasan. So magiging 6z minus 3z is equal to negative 15 plus 9. Ayun yung ginawa rin natin kanina. Multiply yung 3z dito, minus 3z, minove yung 15 sa kabila, maging negative 15 plus 9. Tapos pinagpaliktad natin with the application of the commutative property. Then from there, simplify it. So let's subtract them. 6z minus 3z, we do have here 3z. Then on the other side, it's negative 15 plus 9. We come up with negative 6. So magiging ganito ngayon. 3z is equal to negative 6. So since z is what we are looking for and still accompanied by 3, so to remove that, we have to divide both sides of the equation by 3. So pag divide natin yung 3z by 3, matitira is z, while on the other side, when we divide negative 6 by 3, what will be left is negative 2. When we simplify it, the answer is negative 2. So that's why for number 5, the value of z is equal to negative 2. Did you get example number 5? So hopefully. Next example. Let's have here example number 6. So the given is, similar example yung to number 5 kanina. Fifth root of 3y minus 56 is equal to the fifth root of 5y. So, dalawang given radical terms na pinaghiwalay natin na nasa both sides of the equation. So, if that is the case, what we are going to do first is to remove that fifth root sign in that given equation. So, we can do that by raising both sides of the equation by the power same as the index. So, since the index is 5, so that means we are going to raise both sides of the equation by 5. That number is the same as the index. And again, the purpose of doing that is for us to eliminate the radical sign in the given equation. So since the fifth root yung i-eliminate natin, so we have to raise both sides of the equation by 5. So maka-cancel out na yung fifth root side together with the exponent 5 here as well as on the other side. So matitira na lang ay 3y minus 56 is equal to 5y. Ayun yung mga nasa loob nila. Kasi na-remove na natin yung radical sign. Then, simplify na natin. So, ang similar terms lang naman dyan ay ito. 5y and 3y. So, move mo again yung 3y to the right side. From positive here, magiging minus dito sa right side. Magiging 5y minus 3y is equal to negative 56. Again, with the application of the commutative property, you can interchange their position. So, magiging ganito. So, same as 5y minus 3y is equal to negative 56. Simplifying 5y minus 3y, we come up with 2y is equal to copying negative 56. Then, since you want to find out for the value of y, so you still have to divide both sides of the equation by 2. So, dividing 2y by 2, the answer is y. That is what we are looking for. Then, negative 56 divided by 2. So, just divide 56 by 2. Since you are dividing a negative by a positive, you'll come up with a negative answer pa rin. So that's why we come up with the answer to number 6 as y is equal to negative 28. That would be the half of negative 56. So because we divided negative 56 by 2. So again, the answer to number 6 is y is equal to negative 28. Any questions there? So wala. So let's proceed to another example. So let's have here example number 7. In example number 7, the given is the square root of y minus 3 plus the square root of y is equal to 3. Ito yung sinasabi natin kanina na on one side of the equation, as you can see, meron dalawang radical terms dyan na parehas by variable inside. So what we are going to do is to separate the two. That is by moving one radical with radical the variable on the other side. So in the case of this, we are going to remove this square root of y to the right side of the equation. So pag binove natin yun from plus square root of y, magiging minus square root of y na siya dito. Magiging ganito. Magiging square root of y minus 3 is equal to 3 minus square root of y. So ito na siya ngayon. So in-arrange muna natin siya. Yun ang ginawa natin. And after that, we are now going to remove the radical sign in the given equation. That is by raising both sides of the equation by the power same as the index. So yun nga lang, yung nasa right side mo becomes a binomial now. So ibig sabihin yung binomial na yan, ang i-raise mo to the power same as the index. Ang index natin ay 2. So that's why we are going to raise both sides of the equation by 2. So yung binomial ang ni-raise natin. Because these two are separated by a minus sign. So yung dalawa na yon is on the right side of the equation. That's why yung 3 minus square root of y na yun yung i-erase natin into 2. On the right side of the equation, so may eliminate na, on the left side rather, may eliminate na natin yung square root sign as well as these 2 here. So matitira lang ay y minus 3. So dito tayo ngayon mag-focus sa nasa right side. So we are here applying square of binomial. So, paano ba mag-square of binomial? Una, square the first term. Ang first term mo ay 3. What's 3 times 3? That would be 9. Then second step, twice the product of the first and the second. Ang twice means times 2. So 2 times the first, that would be 6. Times the second, that's 6 square root of y. So since negative yung second, that would be negative 6 square root of y. Then the third step, that would be squared the last term or the second term. The second term is square root of y. Squaring it, so it's just like we are applying the Sasa law. Diba? So matitira lang is just the radicand of it, which is y. So that's why magiging ganito siya. Y minus 3, ito yon yung nasa loob niya. Then on this side, yung square of this binomial. Square ng first term, that's 9. Twice the product of the first 3 times 2 is negative 6 or 6 times negative square root of y, that would be negative 6 square root of y. Then plus, square ng a number eh. It's always like that na plus yun when you square it. So that would be cancel this, so matitira lang is y. So that's what will happen there. Then let's combine similar terms. Obviously, yung y here, saka yung y na nandito, may eliminate na. Kasi pag minove mo yung y doon sa kabila, magiging y minus y na sila. Obviously, that will be equal to 0. So ito lang ang meron tayo. So move mo yung negative 6y, negative 6 square root of y to the left side, then move mo yung negative 3 to the right side. So magiging ganitong kalalabasan. When you move this negative 6 square root of y to the left side, magiging 6 square root of y. Magiging positive na yon. Then it will be equal to 9. Ito yon. Move mo yung negative 3, magiging plus 3. Then simplify this, 9 plus 3. We come up with 6 square root of y is equal to 12. Then we can remove this numerical coefficient here outside. That's by dividing both sides of the equation by 6. So pag dinivide mo to by 6, ang matitira ay square root of y, yung 12 divided by 6, ang matitira ay 2. So magkakaroon ka ng square root of y is equal to 2. So since may square root pa yung y mo, you still have to remove the square root sign. Anong ginagawa? We are just going to raise both sides of the equation by the power, same as the index. Ang index ay 2. So raising that both sides of the equation by 2, ma-eliminate yung radical sa magiging y na lang. Eh what is 2 squared? 2 squared is 4. So that's why the answer to number 7 is y is equal to 4. So do you have any questions about example number 7? So let's try one more example. Let's have here example number 8. So the given is square root of x minus 1 minus x is equal to negative 7. So may kasamang x dito na nasa labas, yung given equation natin. So it would be better if we are going to remove that negative x to the right side of the equation. From negative x, pag binove mo sa kabila, magiging positive x, magiging x na lang siya. So magiging ganito ang kalalabasan. Square root of x minus 1 is equal to x minus 7. Then just like what we did on example number 7, so remove natin yung radical sign na to by raising both sides of the equation by the power same as the index. Kahit na walang radical dito sa right side, still we are going to raise it by the power same as the index. So since binomial ulit yun, so we are going to raise that binomial to the second power. So magiging ganito ang kalalabasan. The square root of x minus 1 quantity squared is equal to x minus 7 quantity squared. On the left side, madali na lang yun because we are just going to remove the radical sign. So may e1 ay x minus y. X minus 1 rather. Is equal to, again dito, squaring a binomial. Square the first term, that would be x squared. Twice the product of the first and the second, that would be 2 times negative 7 is negative 14 times x. That's negative 14x. Then square the last term, negative 7 squared is 49. So positive yon, kaya plus 49. So magiging ganito ngayon. X minus 1, yung nasa loob na to, when we remove that radical sign here, then x squared minus 14x plus 49 is the product when we expand this square of binomial. Okay? Then let's combine similar terms. Magkasimilar yung x and negative 14x. So pag minove mo yung x dun sa kabila, magiging negative x yon. It's just like negative 14x minus x. So similar terms sila, you can add them. So magiging negative 15x. Then similar yung 49 and negative 1 here. So pag minove mo yung negative sa kabila, magiging plus 1. And what is 49 plus 1? That would be 50. So magiging 0 na dito sa kabila. So again, by using commutative property, you can interchange their position. So magiging ganito. it will be x squared minus 15x plus 50 is equal to 0. So we are now dealing with quadratic equation. So ano ba ginagawa natin? We do have different methods, diba, in solving quadratic equation. So we can make use of factoring. Diba? Pwede natin gamitin yung factoring. Find out factors of 50 that when added, the sum is 15. That is 10 and 5, di ba? So since negative yung middle, ibig sabihin negative yung dalawang number na yun that we are multiplying to come up with an answer which is positive 50. That's why ang tamang factors natin ay x minus 10 times x minus 5 is equal to 0. Then equating both sides, both factors to 0 with the application of the zero product property. So we can equate both of it. So makakakuha tayo ng sagot na x is equal to 10 and x is equal to 5. But we still have to find out if both solutions are really the solution to the given radical equation. Kapag, for example, 10, x is equal to 10, shoot natin here, 10 minus 1 is 9. What's the square root of 9? That would be 3. 3 minus 10, that would be negative 7. So it's true. How about 5? So 5 minus 1, that would be 4. What's the square root of 4? That would be 2. 2 minus 5, that would be negative 3. So it's not equal to negative 7. Because diba, when we are getting the square root, when we are getting the square, we are only getting the positive root or the principal root na tinatawag natin. So in the two values of x na nakuha natin, yung 10 lang yung nag-satisfy doon sa given radical equation natin. So that's why the value of x that we are looking for in problem number 8 is just x is equal to 10. So yung tawag natin doon sa value na x is equal to 5, that is what we call as extraneous root. So solution, value siya ng x, but that value does not satisfy the equation. So in that, even though we are solving the quadratic equation na po tayo ng dalawang values for x, but only one value of x there satisfies the given radical equation. So that's why ang answer natin sa number 8 ay x is equal to 10. Because x is equal to 5 is an extraneous. So that's how we answer example number 8. So do you have any questions on example number 8? So any questions about solving radical equations? So if none, so that would be all for today. Goodbye, class!